Hey guys, it's your good old buddy Mr. Biz, Ken Wentworth here. I want to talk to you about an issue that comes up with small businesses all the time. So if you have been in business, if you have a small business, you've been in business for very long and all, you've probably run into this issue. And I alluded to it in the comments of the video itself, but that is you got a vendor, they're not necessarily performing, and in a variety of ways. Could be on price, it could be on their service level agreement, their SLA, but they're not performing. What do you do when they're a friend? And so I got a quick story. I had a client that they're a small manufacturing company. They produce, let's call them widgets, right? And their largest raw material to make those widgets, significant part of their P&L, their profit and loss statement, other than employee expense, their highest expense, right? So when I started working with them right away, I said, geez, that's a big one. Let's take a look and make sure that everything's in order. What I found was this company had been in business for over 20 years, about 26, 27 years, as a matter of fact, at the time. And they hadn't renegotiated, there was no contract with them. They hadn't re-upped it. They hadn't done anything with it, hadn't renegotiated a price for many, many, many years. So I said, let's take a look at this. Well, when I did that, I got some pushback from the owner, my client. And he said, well, long story short, they were buddies. He was buddies with his vendor, which is fine, right? No worries about that. But it's very important to make sure you keep your personal relationship separate from the business piece of your relationship. So in this case, this vendor was, a big part of it was, again, this is a production shop, right? They're producing widgets. And the vendor, they can't produce widgets without this raw material that this vendor provides, okay? And this vendor was delivering it later than their service level agreement, what was in the prior contract, later than they were supposed to be delivering. It was taking longer, which threw production back, which meant in order to meet customer demands for my client, people were working overtime. So that's costing money, right? That's dragging down morale. That's making workers angry because it's completely unnecessary, right? If they deliver everything on time, everything works like a well-oiled machine, it's all good to go. I finally said, let's put it out for bid, including our current, vendor who's not delivering per what they should be doing. Long story short, we saved 12%. On cost, and a significant amount of money, as I mentioned. And we got the SLA back to what it should be. So now we don't have the overruns, the cost overruns on production. We don't have pissed off employees because they're having to work overtime unnecessarily. They're not missing their kids, games and missing family things and things like that, which is important, clearly. And so what we did was we brought in 3 other vendors, provided the same product, had in bids. Our current was not the lowest. What we did was, I'm a loyalty guy, we went back to them and said, hey, we'd love to continue doing business with you. This is the price we had. This is the service, the SLA on the delivery time. Can you meet that? If you can meet it, we'll stay with you. We're good. And they did. So all's well that ends well. All great, right? But, keep this in mind that when you have relationships with them, make sure you try to keep with your vendors and things like that. Try to keep your personal aspect separate from business. I know when they take you to events, buy you tickets, take you out and buy you beers and all that stuff, it's all nice. But at the end of the day, you're running a business. That doesn't pay the bills. And that's what has to happen, right? The bills have to get paid. Don't feel bad about expecting your vendors to meet the terms of the contract you have with them, with the obligations they have to you. Don't feel bad about, making them do that. It's business. Because at the end of the day, you're running a business, not a charity. You have to keep that in mind. I'm not saying not to be friends. Of course, relationships are extremely important. I'm absolutely 100% on that. But when there's a problem on the business side, don't hesitate to bring it up, to address the situation. Don't just sweep it under the rug, which is what was happening in this situation. At the end of the day, it's a fine line. But what I like to say, and I tell our kids this, if you follow the golden rule, you're going to be good to go, right? When in doubt, follow the golden rule. When I worked at JP Morgan Chase, our CEO at the time, Jamie Dimon, he used to say, treat the customer like you would treat your grandmother. It's another form of the golden rule, only on the customer side. But think about that. If you follow the golden rule, you're going to be fine. But again, expecting them to meet their obligations to you and follow the contract, there's nothing wrong with that. You should be doing that. Again, you're running a business, not a charity. I hope that's helpful, guys. If you'd like me to have me help you run your business more profitably, more efficiently, go out to MrBizProgram.com. outlines the whole program, how it works and all that stuff. I'd love to have you in our next session. Good stuff. We talk about things like this, how to address situations like this even more specifically to your case, right? These are live sessions, so we talk through exactly how to cover things like that. So you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to go through these sticky situations and not knowing how to address it or not knowing what to do, et cetera, et cetera. So again, MrBizProgram.com. That's MrBizProgram.com. Go out, check it out, and we will see you tomorrow for another video. See you guys.